Well, we all know Brett Kirk as premiership star and leader of the Sydney Swans, of course, now assistant coach of the Fremantle Footy Club, but he's also become movie star and producer and evangelist for the game, and the movie Aussies Rule the World is out tonight, and Brett and director Michael McIntyre have joined us here on set. Guys, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks. Tell us about the movie and I guess the idea, the concept behind it, for what you've gone and put together.
Yeah, it was just an incredible adventure. The year I retired, the AFL knocked on my door and wanted me to play a role within the AFL, and I'd sort of already had the intent of going on this great adventure with my family around Australia in a caravan, and then somehow it all took different shape, and yeah, I went overseas, and Michael, the filmmaker, he came and sought me out and said, let's make a film about it, and I didn't know where it was going to go, but I've just been blown away by the passion that's outside of Australia, and a lot of it's been organic. People have found it in different ways, but what I love about the game is exactly what people overseas love about it, the way it brings people together.
How quickly, Brett, do they get the game? I mean, they obviously don't get all the intricacies of it, but how quickly does a foreigner, when they get to do a bit of this and see the ball and the way it bounces, how quickly do they get some, that grasp of the game to some degree?
Yeah, well, these images there, it just takes me back there straight away. I love that time. That was in a township in Johannesburg, and yeah, for those kids, they play this thing called Footy Wild. It's a program. So the 5 big animals are related to all different skills, and so they drop their bags, take the shoes and socks off, and away they go. And all of a sudden, I'm in a handball drill, and they're tribal singing, and it's like, wow, this is what the game's all about. This joy. These kids are taking their minds off whatever else is going on in their life, and they're playing footy, and they love it.
What was your most memorable moment, Mick?
Oh, there's been many. I mean, I remember when we first arrived in Mumbai in India, and they didn't have any footies. So after talking to the very enthusiastic people who wanted to learn the game, Brett and I took it upon ourselves to go find them some footies. So we sought out a football factory in the north of India and secured 100 footies for them. But of course, getting anywhere in India is a challenge. In fact, there's some of the images of us in India. But just being able to secure 100 footballs when they didn't have any was a great moment. And then, of course, the film explores what happens to India when they come out for the International Cup. We'd like to take some credit for, the fact that we found them some footies,
In India, I mean, you stop and look in your book and 600 Indians will come up and ask you if you're all right. When you brought out a footy, did a lot of Indian boys, Indian men, girls, just sort of swarm to have a look at what are these Western people doing with this ob-shaped football?
Yeah, well, it was a bit like that. Well, we arrived at this big field. I think there was 3 or 4 cricket games going on, and we squared off a 20-metre square piece of turf and a bit of dirt, and we sort of commandeered it and got the footies out. And there's one really passionate man that found the game on the internet, and he really wants to drive it in India. So he got all these guys involved, and for a lot of them, that was the first time they picked up the footy. And yeah, it was kind of like getting some soil and planting a seed. But yeah, the possibilities, who knows?
What are the possibilities then? What do you reckon now, having done all that, and what is the value in taking the game to the rest of the world?
I don't know, to be honest. What the film does explore, though, is that it creates a conversation about it, and creates a conversation on should we or can it survive overseas? Whether there's a push or not, the game's growing overseas organically, and the way information's being transmitted these days, it's out there so fast, so people are finding it. And there's places I went to like Iceland, so the guy Fritz, he found it in Denmark and brought it back to Iceland. All
His
locals.
name was Fritz?
Yeah, all locals, and all said, oh, he couldn't live without it, starts a game. Same in Croatia, found in USA, brings it back to Croatia.
What did you think of this? Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
We know what this bloke is like on the field,
yep,
and I'm sure you watched him on the field. As a person talking about passion, how was his passion and behaviour taking the footy and dealing with people around the world?
Well, we weren't going to make a film with anyone as our main character, so I think we wisely chose a man like Brett to be our main character. But I guess the measure of a great person, I think, is the trail they leave behind. And the messages we have been getting from all the people that Brett was with is, when's he coming back? I mean, his influence was profound. And, it's like a message to the AFL that these champions of the game make a huge difference in the promotion of the game.
Paul Roos is saying that at the moment. When is Brett Kirk coming back?
I mean, I will say about the AFL, like, we didn't know that the VFL would become the AFL. And then the AFL, all of a sudden, we're playing a game in Wellington. So, to me, life is imitating art a bit. Like, when we started production on this documentary, there was no games overseas. We almost couldn't believe our luck when all of a sudden the AFL announced they're going to play overseas. And all of a sudden, we have this draft in America where we're recruiting Americans into the game. The next thing we will have is a lot of Americans running around playing the game. So I kind of feel like life was imitating art for us.
And Brett, you're back coaching now as an assistant. First of all, just quickly on Fremantle, what happened on the weekend?
Yeah, it was a disappointing performance. In an effort-based game, St Kilda brought great effort and really outworked us on the weekend. So from our end, it was really disappointing. We learned some valuable lessons.
Can you be an assistant in footy, or do you think, Kirky, you've got the drive and the ability to be a senior coach?
Yeah, I'm only in my second year in, so I'm just really learning the way and learning under one of the best in Ross Lyon.
But you don't do things half-hearted. I mean, you've clearly got a goal in your life when it comes to
you're right.
coaching.
I do things 100 miles an hour, but I feel like it's an apprenticeship for me. My brother, who's a plumber, had to do an apprenticeship before he got his licence, and I'm really learning and finding out what it takes. And obviously, then after those few years, then you decide if that's strong enough in your intent.
Would you be interested in talking to Roosie then about furthering that apprenticeship?
Well, yeah, I've committed to the Dockers for the next. Signed for 3 years, so another year left in my contract.
Don't worry about contracts. They don't mean anything in footy, do they?
I don't know.
No, I'm only joking. You know the thing, do you know about your father? Your father lost... I remember we did the interview.
Yeah, my dad features in the film.
Does he?
I talk about...
You're talking about drive, you know. I remember when we did the interview before the grand final and you spoke about your father and the drive and your dad was there. You see it in him.
Yeah.
We saw it on the... I'm going over old ground, but we saw it on the field and we see it in Kirky. He's from pretty good stock, I reckon.
Yeah, Noel's in the film, Brett's dad, and I remember Noel, there was some discussion about whether we wanted the section on Noel in or out, because often things end up on the cutting room floor, and I think he was out of the film at one stage, but everyone just kept saying, no, you've got to put Noel back in, you know, and so, yeah.
Where did you film him? Sorry, where did you film him?
Up in Albury.
Yeah. Good stuff.
The movie's out from tonight, pretty much.
Tonight.
Available in various locations around Australia. So good luck with the movie, and we hope it all goes well, and good luck for Freo for the rest of the year. Brett Kirk and Michael McIntyre, the movie Aussie Rules the World, is out and about now. Make sure you check it out.